So today we're going to do a really fun project, one that I've been wanting to do for a while but have been nervous. I'm going to paint my mophie case. So a mophie case is actual charger and a case built into one. It's about $90, and that's why I was so nervous to do it. So as you just saw, I made sure that I taped around the edges because I really just want to put the back of the case as the artwork. And here you can see I'm kind of figuring out or deciding how I want to put the gesso on, because that's gesso. And the lights down there at the bottom, those little circles you see, those are lights indicating how much charge I have. So for a few minutes in the video, I'm still trying to make sure the tape stays good and seals up where the charger actually hooks to the bottom. And I'm going to continue on to use the gesso to get a really good base coat with some tooth and allow me to be able to hopefully let the acrylic paint that I'm going to use stick to it. So I know that you guys probably think Tiffany will try to paint just about anything and everything, and you would be correct. Nothing is safe at our house because I will try to paint it. I'll be so happy to have a colorful case instead of this plain black one that I had. It was getting, I'm just glad I worked up the nerve. It was kind of boring. And here I'm going to go in with a second layer of gesso. Want to make sure that we get a really good base coat for this case, so that my challenge here is I'm not exactly sure how well the acrylic is going to stay. So I decided to get some coconut oil on a little Q-tip and try to fill in where the little lights are. As you'll see later, I just finally gave up and just went for it. So yeah, here I just decided to go for it. It is what it is. I thought maybe I could kind of scratch off the color, which I do believe I can once it actually gets painted. Anything that you go over before we put our final coats on, you should be able to scratch off. So, and this is the third coat of the gesso here. And I think this is the final coat that I do as far as the gesso is concerned. So 3 coats gave me pretty good coverage on it. And the reason I took the top off here is because I was afraid that if I got carried away with the gesso or paint, that it may actually glue my top to my bottom. And my phone actually goes in the inside, so there's no phone in there right now. And here I'm going back with just a little pen to see if I can scratch out some of that paint. And I give up again because I don't want to worry with it. And here I'm going to go use my Deco Arts Media Fluid. It's a more fluid paint. And again, this is experimental. I've never done this before. And my application of choice is always and forever will be my fingers. I love how the paint feels, and I feel like I have more control over it when I utilize my fingers instead of paintbrushes. So that's what I'm using to apply it on. I'm going in now with some yellow, and how I choose where I place the paint is really just random to say the least. I like to have balance, so I try to make sure it's somewhat balanced approach. Now this is some patio paint. It's a thicker paint. It's neon pink, my most favorite color ever in the world. And I get it at Hobby Lobby, but I think I left it open and now the paint is kind of dried up. So I tried sticking my finger in it to get a little bit out. I did end up getting a little bit, but it's still really not giving me the kind of coverage I want. So we keep working at it, and I finally find some coverage that I like. And here I'm going to bring in some navy craft paint. And I'm just drying because it's important, especially with working with as many colors and layers as I like to, is to make sure you have it to be dry. I'm using a Tracy Bautista stamp. I'll try to link that in the comments which one, and a cosmetic sponge with the stencil here. And the curvature on that was a little tricky, but I was able to figure out how I could get that in there. I was apparently very happy about that with my little thumbs up. Now I'm going to try some Golden's neon red paint. I'm not a huge fan of red. I would much rather have pink than I had red. But this is a very beautiful color of red. And as you can see, I just play with it and kind of use my fingers and go back with a little bit more yellow. Moving the case around a lot, because I do that with any of the, whether it's canvas, whether it's an art journal page, whatever, I always move it around pretty well. I'm using Stays On because Stays On is waterproof. And I'm just using a stamp. I believe that's a Prima stamp, to go around and just give that little honeycomb additional texture. Here, I was going to take that precision pen, and I realized I was scraping back. So I got just a regular pen. I guess it's I don't even know what kind of pen that is, but the tip isn't as quite as pointed as that precision, so it wasn't scraping it. This is I hate it when you're doing a video and I can't think of the word that I'm trying to say right now, but it's just a regular old pen. I was thinking about getting my Jelly Art jelly plate out, the small one that I used in the last video, but I decided against it. And here I'm just using a paintbrush, which doesn't happen very often, and I am putting just some crosses, plus signs, in white, because I thought it just needed the white over there looking at the piece, and where the white gesso was still showing through on the background. So that's why I chose to put those there. And then I'm still going back with a little bit more of the teal Deco Arts paint to see if I could get a little bit more coverage there. Now I'm just kind of looking at it to see where I feel like it is. What do I think it needs next? And now I was looking to put the word inspire on it and decided against it. Went and grabbed my Donna Downey stamps. I will link those down below. And those are rubber stamps. I decided I wanted to white it out a little bit, so I put a little gesso so I could smooth it out, because in my mind I'm thinking I'm liking where this is going, but I'm scared to death that if I put that stamp on there, what if I mess it up? And then I say I'm just going to do it anyway. It's only paint. If something happens, if I mess it up, if I smudge it, then I will just paint over it and try again. So I'm going back here with a little tip with some magenta color, golden I believe it is, paint, and I'm just putting it on the end of the Q-tip and randomly going around and kind of adding, because it has a little bit more of a purpley pinky color that I was going for. Not exactly the hot pink, but you know. And if you guys have a favorite hot pink, comment below as to what it is, because I'm always looking for a really good color of hot pink. And I'm liking this. I really like how this is looking. So again, I just want to go ahead and dry it. I'm checking to make sure the buttons on the lights working correctly, and they are. So even though there's paint on top of it, I can still see the battery lights there. And now I'm thinking about those stamps again. And I finally just say, Tiffany, just do it. And I'm going to do a few test prints. I decided on the stamp that says follow your passion. And I keep testing it. Still nervous, and then I just go for it. Ta-da! I was so happy that it came out okay. Totally relieved about that. And then I'm going to go around with the pen and just make some scratchy marks around the follow your passion. And I'm super pumped right now. So happy that that turned out. And here I am just trying to show you guys how it looks. And now I've decided to do the Duraclear varnish, matte varnish on it. It's a clear coat to be able to seal it. I'm just using an old paintbrush and going over it, because at this point I was not sure if the pen was going to smudge, and I was just had to be gutsy and go for it. Trying to be aware too of where I'm putting the most when I go down with the fresh blop, lack of better words there, because there was several coats on there, but I wanted to make sure that I wasn't getting it down there where the button was for the battery, and I wasn't getting it inside where the charger goes. Just be aware if you do this that you want to be careful. It's an electronic device. It's going to be attached to your cell phone. And here I have let it dry, and I'm going back and removing that tape. And it looks like we got a really good, nice, solid line. And you could use any tape for this just to make sure that it's taped off so that we get a good, clean line. And then I feel pretty good about it. And I'm going to show you how my Galaxy S5 Samsung device goes right into the mophie. And ta-da! There we go, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please make sure that you subscribe.